Ah, that works. Hello. Sorry, everybody. Technical issues. Good to see you all. Welcome to the channel and to chat. First time in a little while. Back in June, I think, was the last time. But good to see you all in the chat. Hello, Nordic, Paul, and Charles, and Camp. Wow. We're getting a few people on. Nice to see you all there. Let us know what you've been playing. I think Paul's saying he's setting up Last Gamble. That's the Battle of the Bulge, isn't it? Can't remember which company did that. Let me know. And yeah, it's all good to hear from you. Thought I'd get a chat in at this point. Just about to head off on holiday, and part of that holiday is to go to a games convention in Zaragoza in Spain, in Aragon, which will be Whaddaya 2024. It's called. Signed up to that actually quite late on. Well, I decided I was going to go there in last December, I think it was, when I saw they did the one last year, and I thought, oh, that's a place to go. If you don't know, my wife is actually from Catalonia, which is the province next door in Spain, so we're kind of combining a holiday with the actual convention. So yeah, well, I'll be over there from Thursday this week. Try and do a few videos there. Stick it on the channel, say hi, and show you what it looks like over there, what's happening. But Michael, hello, good to see you. Nordic Barbaros Army Group Centre. Okay, interesting. Have you played that system before? I did have. What did I have? I had the Crimea one. I tried to dip my toe in a few years ago with Crimea. I didn't really get on with the system. I did sell it eventually, so I've never. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, it just didn't gel with me. Can't quite remember why. But yes, haven't. But let us know what you think of it so far. And who else do we have here? No, that's everybody. Nordic, you've sent Banish all their fears to Noble Knight. Oh, so you've sold it, have you? Interesting. You haven't played it yet, and you got Centre, South, and Kiev to Rostov. Wow. Okay. Well, that's taking a bit of a plunge, isn't it? Gosh. Wow. Yeah. Well done. Actually, I'm going to just move the camera a bit. When I say move the camera, it's actually my laptop with the camera, and just rearrange things here so it doesn't look like you guys are watching my left ear. So while I'm trying to look at the chat here on the other screen. Yes, so so I'm off on this convention. So I thought let's just do a bit of a chat just before I go. Just tell you a bit about it, and the usual things, new games for me, up and coming games that I've been playing, particularly online, usual stuff, and of course what you guys have been playing as well. So ACW, Tattered Flags, right? Okay. Camp, that's a lot of acronyms, TFT, TFTN, WFA. So I haven't quite got the brain on this evening to try and work out what those are. Time for Trumpets? Time for Trumpets N at night? I don't know, and WFA don't know. So let us know what those mean. Right. South and Kiev both in Shrink. Okay. Oh, okay, so you can always pass them on. All right. Simo, hello. Comanche area. Oh yeah, that's over. That's up above me, I think, isn't it? It's yeah. On mine, yeah. I haven't done anything that for a while. I should get back to it really. Yeah, it's a good system. Couldn't get on with Navajo Wars, but Comanche area is pretty good. Still never win it though. It always beats me. Usually quite comprehensively as well, so it's a tough one to play. Palmer, hello. Yeah, good to see you. Georgia in the US. Right, yeah, not the Caucasus, Georgia, but yes, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Let us know what you've been playing. That's sort of a standout question I usually have on these chats. So, what have I been doing? What have I been doing? Well, let's go with games being played. So, I had a friend of mine over yesterday. We actually had a game of Rebel Fury, the Chattanooga game, and in which it ended up on points in a draw, and which meant the Confederates won, which was me. So it was a victory, but kind of only just. Now, it seems to be an interesting mechanic in there, which is the kind of thing in games where there's a mechanic which isn't stated as doing a certain, representing a certain thing, but does represent that and very well. You might not be following me on this, but but just like it is the way the game is built and how it works factors in particular aspects of the battle without it specifying that's what the mechanics are supposed to do. It just comes along in the package, kind of thing. I always like that. What are your thoughts on the combat and Rebel Fury? Now, interesting. Yeah, Rebel Fury. So, I bought the C3I Gettysburg game that Mark Herman did, which was the sort of progenitor of the system, and I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. I thought it was very simplistic, and the combat was just the whole thing just wasn't very interesting. It's like I've got a few Gettysburg games. I've got Summer Storm. I've got Most Fearful Sacrifice, all those kind of things, and really it was kind of, oh god, why am I bothering with this? So I think it's still somewhere in a cupboard, but yeah, didn't get on with it. And so when Rebel Fury was P500, I thought, and it says, oh, this is a sort of big, several battles version of the Gettysburg and Waterloo system. And I thought, well, okay, not going anywhere near that. So what then? So what tipped me over? So really, it was the P500, not the P500, the Full Sail, because I buy quite a lot of the GMT games, and I kind of buy what I want. I sort of order on P500, it comes, great, I've got the game, and then you get the sale. I said, right, well, you've bought so many games on P500, here's 50% off, effectively 50% off vouchers for that number of games. And I sit there and I scroll through, and I think, I don't really want any of these games because I would have bought them anyway. But then I saw Rebel Fury, and I heard a few other things online. Some people had talked about it and said particularly the combat was a lot better. And I watched a couple of videos, and I thought, well, maybe it's worth giving another look. So I looked at it, and I thought, yeah, okay, and it was the full sale, 50% off, and it's not particularly expensive game anyway. So I thought, well, okay, I'll go with it, and I will go through what I did with the full sale. But Rebel Fury was part of it. It's not bad actually. It's quite chess-like, and you're hoping for extreme dice rolls. So both sides, the defender and the attacker, both roll the dice, and it's a D10. If somebody rolls a 1 and somebody rolls a 10. Then that something big will happen, kind of thing. But quite often it's just a sort of standoff, attacker retreats, and that's it. It has an echo of the old SPI quad games, where it was all about retreats, and you just kind of lined up, kind of thing. Hex counter, hex counter, hex counter, and then you just did this kind of, sort of 3-to-1 table, 2-to-1 table, retreat back, retreat forward, try and catch one of your opponent's counters in a sort of vice of Zox, and then it couldn't retreat, and then it died, kind of thing. Always really didn't like those. This isn't like that, but it has to have the echoes of that. With there's a lot of retreats because it's not a decisive result, but not bad. I mean, that's Chattanooga was the first one I looked at. It's kind of the second biggest, or maybe the equal smallest second smallest, not second biggest, or maybe the equal smallest with Fredericksburg. And you can solo Fredericksburg. You just don't move the Confederates. You just zing the Union up the hill, and hopefully they get to the top. But yeah, I think it was quite good as a light war game. There's quite a lot to it. As I said, there's this there's a mechanic I actually really like in it, which I didn't appreciate until we got towards the end of the game. So the idea is that you have this concept called blown. So the result, if you don't get a retreat, you get a blown result, and one of the divisions on either side basically disappears off the map. But it'll come back or potentially come back in 2 turns' time. The interesting thing is that if you get 2 turns before the end of the game, and you get a division getting blown, it won't come back. Well, that's fine, but it doesn't count as blown. It actually counts as eliminated. And eliminated units are worth VPs. So, that's a way of getting VPs, is to get divisions blown in the last 2 turns, because they won't come back. They'll be eliminated. They'll count for victory points. But kind of thinking beyond that, looking beyond that, and going, well, actually, that kind of represents, if each turn is like half a day. So the last 2 turns are kind of like the last day of a battle sequence, and so you can imagine that the troops are really exhausted. So if you're going to have a division completely fall apart, you're going to have it fall apart right at the end, because it's had several days fighting. And so it kind of means that if you're playing the game, you don't want to get your troops blown on the last 2 turns. And so that kind of makes you reluctant to commit them too much, and that kind of feeds in with a sort of end of battle idea, is that everybody's worn out, particularly the American Civil War. Everybody's kind of worn out, and these battles generally is like the sides called it depart, and are kind of, both of them are ruined. Like things like in the Victory Game Civil War. Both sides are demoralised almost invariably. That kind of stuff, and they can't then fight again. It's that kind of idea, and I thought that was quite neat as a mechanic, which doesn't mention that end of battle fatigue and stuff like that, and reluctance for troops to go in, is kind of built into the system. And I thought that was really quite good. David, hello. I'll be rabbiting on there, which is kind of the thing, isn't it? Because it is chat, and you can't say anything. Oh, Jester's in. Oh God. All right. Well, it's the old tone of the chat's going to drop here. But how are you, Jester? Good to see you. Yeah, how's it going? It's going well. Well, yeah. So, Camp, that's my thoughts on the combat of Variable Fury. And you did ask about 10 minutes ago, and you're probably asleep by now. But there you go. That's my thoughts. Just go through the chat again. What have we got? Pursuit of Glory. Okay. Great Battles of Julius Caesar. Good stuff, Palmer. All right. I still haven't got into Great Battles of Julius Caesar yet. I'm still yet to actually crack the game open and actually do something real on it. It's still sitting on my shelf. But you can probably just see it. Is it there? Yeah. It's just behind the upright on the bookcase there, but it is there next to Alexander and SPQR. So it's good. Oh, there's lots of stuff going on. Am I excited for the new Fields of Fire coming out? Yeah, well, I've been doing a little bit of playtesting. Well, I was early on this year. I did a bit of playtesting on the Arnhem stuff, on the Arnhem bits, and not bad. It's good. Also, the Goose the Falklands War, the Goose Green battle as well, which is one of the campaigns in there. Did quite a lot more of the playtesting on that. Yeah, very interesting. Very good modelling of the UK infantry forces. Yeah, no, very very good. Haven't got into the Afghanistan yet. I think the next playtesting round. We're just waiting for things to get tinkered with. So, but yeah, no, yeah, excited to see it. When I see number 3. If you're talking about the deluxe, yeah, I'm going to get the update because I've already got the game, and when that comes through, okay. But personally, the game's fine as it is to me. So I know we get a few extra bits and pieces, but yeah, the game's great with me. Anyway, what have we got? Palmer, yeah, on Rebel Fury, yes, exactly. It's better. It's a lot better than the old Gettysburg Waterloo first try there, which is nice to know. Yeah, difficult to play solitaire, Jeff. Oh, Jeff, hello. Sorry, didn't see you there. Found it difficult to play solitaire. Yeah, except for the Fredericksburg scenario. Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of trying to play chess against yourself. I've never seen that. Never been kind of thing for me really. So yeah, will agree. Difficult to play solitaire. Lucky mate came round yesterday, so managed to have a go. Just as trying to say I'm Blofeld. Actually, no, I'm not Blofeld. I'm actually the Hood from Thunderbirds. Actually, sorry, you've got the wrong baddie. Dear oh dear, you're slipping there, Jester. It's the Hood. It's not Blofeld. No, sorry. Because why am I not Blofeld? I'm allergic to cats, so I can't be Blofeld, can I? Really? So yeah, the Hood from Thunderbirds. My eyes are going to light up any moment. Actually, if I move my glasses a little bit, your reflection off the screen, you'll actually get a little bit of a glow there from the glasses there. So ha ha ha. There you go. Right. Yes, Mr. Bigglesworth. So yes, from Doctor Evil. Yes, it could be Doctor Evil. I'm not in I haven't got the grey. It's just the black. The black here was more hoodish. But no. Oh yeah. I dropped the glasses. Yes. Drop the glasses. Yeah, I could be Doctor Evil. Yes, do the old stuff. Yeah, sure. Okay. And Charles, GCACW is my ACW go-to. Yeah, I'd love to get into it. I have a couple of games, just never get to it. I do watch Patrick's Tactics and Tutorials. I think is his YouTube channel. If you don't know it, go for it. He does loads of replays of GCACW. It's good stuff. He's on the new Mississippi one, which I haven't got. Because I always have to think about MMP games because they're actually quite expensive. But yeah, I've got what is it? Hood Strikes North, and I've got Stonewall in the Valley. I had that for ages and ages and ages. I think I've got the old. No, that's it. That's all I've got. What's gaming's featured at the Spanish con? So, it's board war games. So there is actually, and you guys probably didn't know this, but there are a lot of Spanish war game manufacturers. There are loads of them, like dozens. And quite a lot of them are going to be there. I'll go through it in a minute, but I'm going to be doing some new sort of pre-release games and stuff, having a go at them with the manufacturers there. So they're all small. They're small little outfits, but yeah. So yeah, it's all board stuff. There's no minis, no RPG. No. It's all boards. Right. Mats for GCA. Yeah, absolutely, they do. They always have done ever since back in the old Avalon Hill days, which is interesting because when it was comparing it to the Civil War Brigade series, say from the Gamers at the time, which was pretty rough maps. It's basically very primary colourish, block colours and things on hexes. When then you had the sort of GCSEW games, and you thought, bloody hell, that was a difference in those. Amazing. Yes, Christoph, hello. I thought I saw you in earlier, but no, it's good to see you. I'm still going through the chat here. I've got a big list of things to do, but you know, I'm still catching up with it where everybody's jabbering away here. You guys should be doing the chat, not me. Gosh, where are we on? Yeah, the price with OSG games, yes, indeed. That's why I don't have a lot of OSG games, because it's just slightly eye-watering for the amount of game you get, really. MMP sales coming up. It is, although the last time I ordered stuff on the MMP sale, they almost chucked my order out because I was not in North America and they didn't want to ship me the games. I had to buy an extra game for them to actually ship me the games that I'd ordered. I'd ordered 4 and I had to buy a 5th game. So I'm presuming, I'm not going to be buying that number of games from them again. So the MMP sale isn't going to really do very much for me. So yeah. Blind Swords intro, interesting. Blind Swords. Well, I actually only have one Blind Swords, and that's Metz 1870, which is a GMT game, which is great. I'd recommend it, so you can go for that. It's 2 battles in the, or you can play the combined. They're not huge, big but not huge, and it's a great blind sword system. I don't know if you can still get that game in, probably can't at the GMT, but yeah, that was my recommendation because I haven't got the others. I've actually bought one of those for a mate of mine, which was Longstreet's Attack. I'm pretty sure that's Blind Swords. Longstreet Attacks, because he was really into that particular place. He's not a wargamer, but he was quizzing me about the history on that, and I thought, well, there you go, have a game on it for his 60th, or was it 70th? I think it's his 70th actually. Yeah, it was. So. Hijacked our train. It's another crazy train. Well, I'm going to put it back on the rails. Might not be the same rails, but it'll be on A rails. Just talk amongst yourselves, okay? Yeah, right. Ignore me. I'll just carry on with this. All right. In fact, I might just read it out in my head, so you don't. No, actually, right. Games being played. So. Games have been played. So if you've seen the chats before, there's like 3 games, well, 2 games now, which I've been playing on Discord for quite a while. There's Pericles with 3 Australian blokes who are really great. We played the original Gallipoli game with him, and then we switched to Pericles. That's kind of hibernated, shall we say. Also, there was Next War Vietnam, which I would have shown you before, and that there's been, my opponent has been having issues, so that's on a bit of hiatus as well. So nothing much has happened there, even in the time since the last chat. Nothing really has gone on with those. However, I have jumped in on 3 games. I think the first one I might have shown you, which is a game of what was it called? Oh, the Plum Island Horror, of course. Well, I'm getting old. The Plum Island Horror. There, we're playing. We're almost at the end of it, and we're kind of doing okay. Have I got that up on my screen? I can show you, possibly. Yeah, hang on a minute. I'm going to have to switch around windows here, so it might be odd. So there we go. Sorry, I'm just some switcheroony going on here. So I'm just going to shrink myself away, and that's, yeah, this is our Plum Island Horror. Let's get the chat window out of the way and zoom in a bit. So we are, it's the game, we're on the second last turn, so the afternoon of the third day. Doing all right. If evac points aren't great, but we've got a lot of people just about to be evacuated. You can see we've got a couple of special guys. We've got the country singer, and we've got the people from the reality TV show, which are about to get rescued. Well, these guys will get rescued. I am the neighbourhood watch, which is the Greens. So I'm really kind of here. And you'll see I'm actually on the bloody front line here. Would you believe the neighbourhood watch is actually doing all the hard work here? We've got the township, which are the purples, and the security service for the labs, which are the browns, who are messing about. And the athletics club, which is doing a few things, but yeah, I'm kind of front line here. So I think we're okay. I've got this is the busybodies are keeping these horrors busy at the moment. I was dealing with a lot of horrors up here in the Clementine State Penitentiary. I held them here with the campers. My reenactors here next door were quite happily taking pot shots at them when we just killed them. So yeah, that's this. So track 5 is what I'm concentrating on now, having dealt with track 6. Needed to deal with track 6 because that's where we're getting people off on the bridge. And yeah, as I say, we're just trying to rescue a few people over here. It's going all right. I think we'll win. I don't think we're I don't think we have too much of a problem winning. And to be honest, whenever I played the game, it hasn't been that difficult. So I've never seen an overrun, which is when one of the horrors gets down to this bottom level here of the board. I've never actually seen one. So yeah, it's I think its toughness is there's an issue with the toughness on the game, frankly. But yeah, we're enjoying it anyway. Let's get back to the chat and see what's going on. Still talking about American Civil War? Yeah. Okay. Our Nordic. To play solo, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of a multiplayer, but you can have the multi-factions or play the multi-factions together. You know, we're playing 4. So yeah, up to 4 is fine. Solo is fine. You just don't do anything else. You just have the 4. Because it's a cooperative game, you can solo it because, you know, you cooperate with yourself. It's not difficult. There's no hidden information or anything like that. You just, you know, it's working together anyway. So you just get the factions to work together. I wouldn't run it with one faction. I would get 2 at least. But yeah, solo, it's fine. Yeah, not a problem. I think they're reprinting it now. I think they ran out, didn't they? I think they're reprinting it. So yeah, so that's that one. What else have we got here? So, oh, I did have it open. Anyway, I opened it twice. So the other ones I've just started. So I've started a Discord version of a Discord game of Versailles 1918, which you'll probably remember if you're a regular on the channel. It was my game of the year in 2021 when it came out. I think it was. I haven't actually named a game of the year for any other year, so it's kind of game of the decade so far for me. And here we are, 4-player game. I am the French, so and we're quite early on. We've each got an issue settled each. So I got the Rhineland settled, and I'm occupying it. The Italians settled rebuilding, and we also have military intervention was strong. The Americans took it, but they decided to have it strong so they could get a navy unit for Victory Point. And the Brits have just got their second issue. They've got 2 Balkans issues, Macedonia and Ukraine. Ukraine went independent, and Macedonia went to Greece, I believe. So interesting things. We've got yeah, Ukraine was the last one. I actually settled that on behalf of the British, um, and also the military intervention. I had a negotiation with the Americans there because that was it says league on it. That was a league issue, and I had the on table event card, which is what I'm highlighting here now at the moment. I had the previous one, which was actually wasn't Herbert Hoover. It was the one previous to that, which unsettled a league event, and that was the only one. So the Americans had the influence on it, could finish it, could settle it, but then I could immediately unsettle it, and I could have taken it off him. So we had to do negotiation, and this is what this game is about. It's all very much about negotiation, stuffing people up, putting them in corners and stuff. So that there was no compromise there. He had to compromise with me, and I didn't really bargain that tough for him. But it's the kind of thing I like in this game. But we haven't had an uprising yet. This is in the region tracks there. None of the regions of the world has revolted. So that means we haven't picked our strategy cards. So this is our victory point cards down on the right, extreme right here, which we pick in reverse. Loser first, and then we keep them for the rest of the game. There's 5 of them. There's 4 players. One doesn't get picked. Currently, I am in 3rd place, so it will be just on the cards. So the Italians have 7, I have 6, the British have 8, and the Americans have 5. And probably the thing it would be nice to do, oops. I think I lost everybody there just for a few seconds. Sorry about that. I don't know, my OBS just decided to ABS for a few seconds, but it's back now. Yeah, I went blank. More than one in more than one way. The screen went blank, mine went blank, everything went blank. But now I'm back. So blink and you missed it. I am back. How many factions are in Plum Island? I think there's 6. So there's the Athletic Club, Neighbourhood Watch, the National Guard, the Township Council, the Security Service of the Lab, and there was another one. What's the other one? Can't remember. I think there's 6. Can't remember the other one though. Yeah, no, it wasn't your end. It was my end. I had a little message that flash on, said OBS is disconnected. And I'm like, oh, great, thank you. But no, I am back. So yes, that's so we're quite early on. It's going to be quite a long game on Discord because it's just PBEM. You know, it's every day or so, or a couple of days. There's a turn from somebody. So you know, it's going to take a while. But I always enjoy a game of Versailles, 1918. Excellent game. If you can get a hold of it, I recommend it. If you can get multiplayer, would say qualifier. I think the solo version of it just is horrible. Don't like it at all. But the multiplayer, it's excellent game. Right, where are we next? So. Now the other one I'm playing is interesting because I don't have the game yet, and in fact very few people have the game yet, and it is, and I will show you a screen. Now this isn't the game. Well, it is the game, but it's not my Discord version of the game. It is The Other Side of the Hill from NAC Wargames, one of our Spanish wargame manufacturers. Let me zoom out here. So I've literally just started a game, so there's nothing to show you on the game I'm playing. It's 4 of us playing, and I am player 3 out of there's player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4. So there isn't. You don't actually get a side until later on in the game. I don't know if you guys know anything about the game. You are playing a sort of co-op game as the German High Command in World War II, and you are trying to organise and proceed with the war, and you each have a number of generals, and they have capabilities, and you try and get them to do their thing. And when they don't do their thing, they become under suspicion and may get dismissed or shot or something like that. And so we've just started that game. This game in front of you is a solo I'm playing with myself, which was the 1942 start scenario. So interesting thing in the game is that you can only play solo a scenario which ends in 1945. So there are smaller scenarios, but it doesn't recommend you play solo with those smaller scenarios that only go mid-war. So I didn't want to, this was my first game playing it, I didn't want to start 1939 go all the way to 45. So I started in 42, and yeah, it kind of chucks you into the middle of the action. So we're getting used to it at the moment. In my game, I'm actually in the lead. We've only had one turn, which was 1939. Sort of September to Christmas 1939. We're just getting to 1940, and I am ahead in what's known as prestige points, which is kind of like victory points in the game. I am ahead by not doing very much, by just getting a couple of my generals promoted to army group heads of army groups. One of them is they were both on the western border. So while Poland was getting pummeled, I was in the western side. I had two of my generals, Von Leap and List, as heads of army group heads, and that gave me double victory points for them, which took me into a stunning lead of 8. Well, it's not a lead of 8, but I got 8, and everybody else who was doing all the hard work, like crushing Poland, and doing all the production directives and all that kind of stuff, didn't get as much as me. I just kind of sat there and just sent a couple of generals off. They basically didn't fight even, and I got a load of points, so I thought I was quite good. I was hung out in the rear exactly. So I was, yeah, exactly. Though we're now on 1940, and we're just so every year you get a new set of generals to add, and you get to pick. It's sort of like it's sort of like those football games when you were at school where you had two captains, and there was all the other kids lined up, and you picked, you picked one alternatively until you ended up with Billy No Mates as the last person to be picked. It's kind of like that. So that we're going through 4 of us picking us. So I just I got first pick. That was the other thing I got out of it. I know I did get some victory points, but I also got first pick, and I picked Rommel, which is great. I got Rommel out of the 1940 tranche of generals. Although I did then not. I had a choice of Rommel, Manstein, and Guderian. So out of the 3, I got first shot, and I went for Rommel. Basically because he's pretty much unsackable. Although he could disappear, but by random event. The others are less likely to. But yeah, we're coming around again on the thing. I got a second on the second round. I've started the second round. I went for Reinhardt, who I didn't really know, but seems to be quite a decent bloke, very flexible on his capabilities. So yes, Astika, hello, good to see you, mate. This is the Vassal mod. I did say that I don't have the game yet, so I haven't been shipped the game yet. But they did release the Vassal mod, and also can I probably do this? Oh no, I'll close them down. I have also the player aid cards as well. I got copies of those, so I could play along on this. So those were issued anyway. I should be getting the game. I probably will get the game when I come back from Spain, from holiday, which is interesting because it's coming from Spain. And actually, when I go out to Zaragoza, The one place in the world where you will find this game actually in people's hands is actually in Spain, because it was shipped from there. So so I will probably see a copy of the game. I did Kickstarter it, so actually got a couple of freebies. One, which is apparently very, very controversial, is an Iron Cross medal, which has thrown all kinds of wobblies to some wargamers as being a little bit too gratuitous. And the other thing is an extra pack of generals for the later years. The generals in the normal game kind of run out in 1943. You don't get any more. But the Kickstarter pack actually has ones for later on in the war, so you can kind of keep going. You can't just have oodles of generals as well. You're restricted on the number you can pick. So you tend to the reason it finishes in 1943 doesn't mean that you've picked everybody. It looks like there would be a natural drag, because you're waiting for some generals to get fired, so that you'll have space for the newer generals. So I don't, but it's interesting to have some more generals anyway. So yes. Anyway, so this is the 1940 scenario, 1942 scenario. Sorry, in which, for interest's sake, what do we have here? We have things going. We did get to Stalingrad in late 1940. You're just starting 1943 now, so we did the summer and the autumn 1942. We got to Stalingrad in the summer, didn't get to Mykop. So you have these things called objective cards, basically, and which was Fall Blau, case blue, version 1. Which meant I needed to get to Stalingrad and to Mykop. I got to Stalingrad, didn't get to Mykop. Tried several times, failed. And then in the autumn I got kicked out of Stalingrad. And things are probably going to get a lot worse here. The little cubes are armies. Grey ones are standard German armies. White ones are green German armies. The yellows are allies. So Hungarians, Romanians, etc. The black ones, if we can see a black one, is a Panzer army. And they just roll different dice, as you can see up the top here. So yeah, it's probably going to get not very good from now on. Down in Libya, one thing that happened is the Americans landed in Northern Africa with Operation Torch, and they actually landed in Tunis. So they took the whole of Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco like that. So they're stuck in Tunisia. So poor old Rommel here, and it is Rommel here commanding here, is stuck in Tripoli with the Brits and the Americans, the Allies, basically surrounding him. So it's not looking good in North Africa, which is about, 1943, fair enough, I suppose. Early 1943, it's fair enough. But yeah, it's looking bad news there. Strategic warfare, we're not doing very well. The air battle on the Western Front, we've lost. We're trying to get them back. And we're just about hanging on in the Mediterranean and not doing very well in the East. I didn't lose a lot of territory, as in I only got kicked out of Stalingrad with the in 1942, but there was a lot of aircraft casualties. So we lost. I did have it on 5 at the start of Fall Blau, and it's now down on 2, and that's with a couple of rounds of reinforcements as well. So keep rolling dice, which are air hits on the Eastern Front. So that's where we are with that. So I thought that'd be more interesting to see rather than the one we've only just started. So, but yeah, that's something else I'm playing on Discord as well. Where are we? So, yeah, Charles, hello. Yes, looks interesting. Yeah, I think it's a very different game. It's a very busy map. Each of the the blocks are a region, Hungary, Ukraine, Don, Volga, etc. And then within that you've got sectors, which are these 3 little round circles, which are effectively, you would see it as being on the Eastern Front. From the right would be from the Soviet side, and from the left from the German side. So if you look at Hungary here, we have a German token sitting on the rightmost, which means the Soviets aren't in Hungary at all. That's completely German. and similarly, it's the reverse on the Western Front. So as you can see, we're in Calais and Marseille, and we're in Brest. So we've got the whole of France. Of course, we would have at this time, and so the Allies aren't on there. And here you can see in Northern Africa, the Allied marker is in Tunis, so they own Casablanca and Algiers as well. You don't put a marker on each; you just have this sort of swingometer kind of idea, which you'll see in the east here, where in Stalingrad we're in Voronezh, they're in Stalingrad. So if the Soviets win a battle, they'll get Voronezh and we'll be pushed back to Stalino. If we win, we get into Stalingrad, they get pushed back to Astrakhan. So that's how the sort of board works. So yeah, but enough of that. Interesting game. I'm sure you should be able to buy it. You won't get the Kickstarter-y stuff, but you should be able to get it. I think there are spare copies. But yeah, very interesting. Right, just going to get myself back here onto the main screen. Ugly face back, and let's see. Yeah, Stuka, there's sequence of play cards, Stuka Joe style. They are actually part of the Vassal module as well. So, yeah. Yeah, the supply is not really a problem. It's not as dynamic in this game, of course. Just are you in supply or are you not? And yeah, so I am at the moment. But as I don't think I'll be long in North Africa, given the situation there. Essentially, your opponents, which are the Allies and the Soviets, when they do a combat, you pick a card, and it tells you how many dice they roll. And as you can imagine, in 1943, they roll a lot more dice than they did in 1942, which is more dice than they roll in 1941. So it just stacks more and more. You are meant to lose as Germany in the game. You can get a kind of auto victory from it, but generally, if you don't do that, then you're going to lose. But it's how you lose, I think, in the game is the important bit. Okay. So I mentioned I was going to Bataille d'Ores in Zaragoza on Thursday, and I just wanted to show to you what I was going to play. So currently, and I'm just going to put this in because they have this natty little website in which you sign up to games, and these are the games that I've signed up to. So excuse the Spanish, but I could translate, but can't be bothered. As in translate through the browser, not translate with me. I'm useless at Spanish. I've trouble enough with Catalan, never mind Spanish. So on the Thursday, I'm down to play Poland 39. Which is from Trafalgar Editions. Guess what? Another Spanish wargaming company. Just thought it looked interesting. Thought I'd try it out. Don't know anything about it. Just thought, okay, I'll sign up to that. So that's me Thursday evening done. Then Friday morning, I'm going to be playing a game that's just about out, I think, called Operation Burlabank. Which is from the Snafu guys from Sabadell near Barcelona in Spain. Another small wargame manufacturer. I think you might have heard of them. I've got a few of their games. They've done things like Malemi, 12 Hours to Malemi, for Crete. Equatorial Clash, I think it is, which is the Peruvian Chilean War, I think. Ecuadorian War, can't remember. Going to try that from there. Might even be able to grab a copy off them, you never know. Snaffy design, that's right. Yeah, they're very well produced. That's right, Stuka. Um, how accessible is the con to an open-minded, non-Spanish speaking gamer? Well, I'm close-minded, so I'll be fine. No, fine. I think we're kind of spoiled as English-speaking wargamers in that. Well, certainly in England we are, because the centre of the globe is really in America, and so it's all English-speaking. So you kind of have to speak English to be into wargaming, mostly, I think. So these guys, the wargamers, they're mostly fluent in English, whereas I'm not in Spanish, and so I don't see there's going to be a problem. Nobody's kind of saying you can't, you have to speak Spanish or anything like that. I might have some difficulties. We'll see how it goes. So, but I'm as bad as you, so I'll let you know on that front. So yeah, Paul, there you go. I think it's fine. Yeah, it's sticky, right? Half speak English, which doesn't include quite a lot of my wife's family, which is a problem. But that's my problem, not yours. Okay. Yeah. So after that, I've put up a game of Rebel Fury. So I'm going to take a copy of Rebel Fury as well. Most of a copy. I'm going to take it out of the box, stick it in a baggy kind of thing to save space. But hopefully be able to play with somebody. Nobody else has signed up, so it's just me at the moment. And then in the evening, guess what? Versailles 1919. So yeah, I'm jumping in the game of that. That'll be interesting on that. So always up for a game of Versailles. Absolutely. And then on the Saturday, signed up to Frederick the Great, or Friedrich, I think it's called, which is can't remember who makes the game, which is a kind of Euro, but is apparently very, very clever. Haven't got the game, never played it, but looked interesting. I thought, go on then. So I'm going to be doing that for the morning on Saturday, and then in the afternoon I'll be playing a game of Sea Power in the State, which I understand was a Simulations Canada game originally, but then reprinted by Compass Games, and that was offered by a guy called Nicholas Sagini, I'm not sure which way around, who is the designer of the DVG game by Stealth and Sea about the Italian midget submarines. So he offered that, and we collaborated on Twitter, and so I'm going to be playing with him on that. Never played it, don't have the game, but should have a bit of fun. And to be honest, if I'm going on holiday, because I'm not just going to the gaming convention. It's not like I'm going to track a load of games of my own over there. I'm going to take Rebel Fury, maybe another Euro-y kind of game, little one, and that'll be it. So I've got to rely on everybody else anyway. So I've got to pick the games that they select. So that's my itinerary for Whaddaya Doors 2024, and we'll see how I go. I will report back. So yes, that's a game convention coming up. So then it's on new games and upcoming games is the next thing to talk about. So on P500s, so I haven't had a lot of P500s coming in over the summer. In fact, I was struggling to see, but there was one that did come in, which you guys have probably sick of seeing, which is Napoleon, GMT Solitaire TED Racer game. So I've had a go at this. Every time I play it, I die later or get sacked later in the game. Haven't got it to the end yet. I've got just about into the Empire a bit. First time I played, first two times I think, I never even got to the consulship. Then I got into the consulship, and now I've just got into the Empire. I just seem to, in sort of a progression, end up with a battle with one of the opponents, the Austrians or Prussians or anything, and end up rolling really badly and then keep rolling badly, and so I end up getting sacked. So a little bit frustrating. So I mean, you do have what's known as the luck in here, so you've got to re-roll every year, which is great, but if the re-roll sucks as well, that's not a lot that helps you with. It's quite a tough game as far as I can tell, although I do know of people have noted on the internet that they seem to be able to breeze through it quite well. So maybe I'm just a bit rubbish. Actually, I probably am just pretty rubbish. Quick look at the game if you haven't seen the components already. I'm sure you have. I'm not going to go through it. It's all been punched and stuff, so I can't show you like absolutely brand spanking new, but rule book is only 22 pages long. Yeah. Well, some clarifications there. 23 pages long as a rule book, so not too tricky. Though in the rules you have to pay attention. There are a couple of tiny things which are kind of really important. You've got the board, which is pretty much a placemat for cards really, and some counters. So I'm gonna hit myself in the face here, like I usually do. I'm gonna break one of these boards one of these days, aren't I? But there you go. Oh, there's a little hole for me. Hello, you can see me. Yeah, very Napoleonic. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of little places to hold cards. The various countries, but also family areas, and also it's just bunches of cards really. And every year you the basic mechanic is you've got a number of card draws. You draw a card, and if you can, you could throw it away if you want to. Sometimes you must play it. And then you stick it where it's supposed to be, and it has an effect in the game. That's most of a turn. The second half of the turn is do you go on campaign and do you win it? So you fight the campaign, and if you lost it, well, early on in the game it's not absolutely terrible, but once you get into the consulship and the empire, then you really need to win everything. Certainly early on in those, and then you just reset and then go to the next year. So it plays relatively rapidly, I would say. Probably the downtime is the fact that you're adding cards and taking cards out of your deck as the years go by, because they kind of expire. So there's a little bit of faffing around with that. Not every year, but some years. Adding those cards in, reshuffling, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's not a big deal really, but there you go. Anyway, that's I Napoleon. I will get back to it, but also I find it quite frustrating actually playing it. Michael, yes. Not convinced yet. Okay. It has good there is good decision space, but sometimes it will just crap on you, and that's it. You know, if the dice rolls go wrong, you nosedive very quickly. The interesting thing, of course, is that actually in this, one of the interesting decisions to make is do you attempt to marry Desiree Clary or not, and then wait for Josephine to come along. That's an interesting one, because Desiree Clary comes along first, and it's interesting because Desiree Clary doesn't really do very much for you. Initially, a little bit initially, whereas Josephine gives you a political point every turn, which is actually quite valuable. But there's a load of cards in there for her messing about, and so which damages you as well. So it's kind of double-edged sword kind of thing. And so do you go safe or not, kind of thing. So it's just interesting in a kind of war game. It's about which woman do you marry. I mean, you can try and marry Desiree Cage and tell you to get lost anyway. So in which case, nothing ventured, nothing gained. But if she says yes, you're kind of stuck with her. I mean, there are mistresses and stuff like that, but as wife, that's it, kind of thing. Anyway, right, let me get back to, I'm still showing you the Whaddaya Doors thing, so let's nip back. Sorry, come here. Just get me back again, because you probably didn't see most of that because I was in the corner and I didn't notice. But there you go. That's the kind of technical capability I have with these things. Right, that's kind of it with P500. No, it's not the only thing with P500. There is another thing I got, which was only just arrived. Haven't done anything with it, and as I think everybody and his dog has got a copy, so probably not surprising to anybody. But so I thought I had it nearby, but I didn't. Is Red Dust Rebellion? Let's get the glare out of the way. So that is Coin Game, volume 12. Seems like more. So yeah, so Coin on Mars. Interesting. Wasn't going to go for it. I wasn't going to buy it. And I mentioned this on Twitter actually a few days ago. So once I bought All Bridges Burning, which was quite a while ago, I thought, okay, I've got enough coin games, don't want any more. I actually had some P500 which I withdrew, and I thought, no, I'm not going to bother. And then the British Way game came along, and just before they actually charged for it, I thought, no, okay, jump in. Interesting, 2-player, 4 games, British Empire stuff. So I got that. Mixed things on British Way. Okay, but is it great? Not sure. So, but I still kept that right. That's it. That's an aberration. So on Red Dust Rebellion, I kind of did the same thing. I thought it's just about to charge for it. Should I? And I thought, yeah, go on. It'll be interesting what the differences are. I'm just interested in the differences between this game and the other coins, and there are some. One of the factions is quite weird. A church or something. So I haven't done anything with it. It arrived, had a look, went through the components, stuck it on the table. Not anything else to do really. So can't tell you very much about it really. Yeah, you guys aren't into coin. Some of them pretty good. Fire in the Lake's brilliant. The Vietnam one, I think it's great. It's the best one of the lot. The others, they're okay. It's good multiplayer, asymmetric games. All right. Pendragon's okay. Distant Plain, the Afghanistan one's pretty good as well. But as I say, I've got quite a few of them. I haven't played too much of them, so I thought, yeah, let's not add. But then again, with the British Way in this one, I've added. So, and now I'm looking at China's War, which I did have P500 and I withdrew. I'm now looking at it again, thinking maybe. So that's that. So P500 is that. Okay. So GMT sale, full sale, of course. So what did I get there? So I got, of course, Rebel Fury, which I've already told you about, and is just here. So if you don't know about it, again, you probably do. There's been lots of chat about it. So it's 6 battles. 6 battles, yeah. Fredericksburg, Chancellorsville, Chickamauga, Chattanooga, the Wilderness, and Spotsylvania. So 6 in 1 packs. Interestingly, they've done a little bit like the Men of Iron series kind of thing. So each battle has its own set of counters. So there's not a lot of general counters. Even GBACW is the same thing. Great Battles of the American Civil War, like Death Valley. So you have there's quite a lot of counters because there are no duplicates. You don't reuse counters at all. There are a few informational stuff that you use, but there's not many of them. So It's interesting. So there's quite a few counters in the thing, not millions, but yeah, interesting sort of, yeah, fairly light war game. Couple of hours. It'd be interesting to see the big ones, how much time they take. But yeah, pretty good. But as we talked about that already, and you've probably seen it. What else did I get? I got one of their white boxes, and if you can see behind me, it's sticking out. It's just here, and that is, I got the white box so that I could put the 4 expansions I have of Wing Leader. So those all come in folio bags, and I was getting a bit annoyed with those, so I got a white box and then printed out my own stuff, pimped up the white box with pictures of Wing Leader, and so I got that. And again, Wing Leader is a good game, weird but a good game. It doesn't take very long to play a scenario as well. It is quite short as a game. And then what else? Oh, and then I decided, again, broke a rule. So I broke the coin rule. This is a bigger rule that I broke. So other than Fields of Fire, I haven't been investing in any tactical World War II games at all. Not a lot of tactical games at all. A bit of Napoleonics, but really gone into operational. Yeah, operational is kind of the sweet spot, and sort of left tactical behind. I know Jester has always been whinging about that, and also Rough Swordsman, very much into tactical stuff. But yeah, have a go. So, but I heard good things about this game, and also that it was turning into a system, and there was 50% off because of the full sale. So, so I went for this system, and also it was still available as well. That's the other thing, which is. Oops. Sorry, gotta get the box about. Give me a second. Because I've got the box open already, which is The Last 100 Yards, which hundreds of yards is definitely tactical. So yes, and somebody can do my joke, which I usually do when it's mentioned in the war room. It's the European version, 91.44 meters. The last 91.44 meters. But the interesting thing about this system is, if you get the base game, the expansions which are coming out. So there's a Russian one about to come out, or has come out, and there's going to be a British one. You need the first 2 games, and the second game is Last 100 Yards Volume 2, Airborne over Europe. So I thought they're not actually that expensive, and they were 50% off. So I thought, okay, it's worth a punt kind of thing. So I have actually kind of just about got it out on the table to have a look at it in basic stuff. First impressions, okay. I'm being very non-committal, aren't I, tonight? But very early on, it purports to be a very, very different system. Not completely convinced at the moment. So, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, it is. It's a squad-based game, but you do things in platoons. Activate platoons of squads. We'll see. We'll see on that. I've rapid it on for quite a while now, so I'm not going to get them out because we've got other things to talk about here. So, and that was the GMT sale. Is it playable solo? Yes, as long as the scenario doesn't have some hidden troops. So there are concealed troops and hidden troops. And I'll be honest, there's a lot in this game which reminds me of Squad Leader. There's quite a lot that it doesn't, but there are. It's kind of the look and feel is very squad leaderish, which for a game that's supposed to be very, very different, it's sort of like, oh, okay. So yeah, so there are concealments which are they're on the board, but you get you get you can't be fired at and stuff like that, or it's difficult to fire at you and stuff. But there are hidden units as well. So if you do a scenario that has hidden units, then you can't really. Having said that, I'm trying scenario 1, which does have one side is hidden, but it's very small, and it was kind of like, oh, I'll just ignore that. But yeah, other than that, I suppose so. I mean, I suppose so. There's nothing else I think that's that much of a problem with that. So yeah, there we go. Oh right, you went for last 100 yards, but you went for old school tactical. Yeah, well, I say I didn't look at that because literally, if it wasn't for the full sale, I probably wouldn't have got it. But I was kind of interested that it's actually turning into a series. There's the Russian one. There's also a mission pack already, extra scenarios, and there's the British one coming out as well. I thought, okay, this seems to have legs, so maybe it's worth having a look at for a reduced cost. So that was it. So yeah, that was GMT sale. Yes. So what else have we got, or is coming on the line? So I did finally, and I did a partial playthrough of this game on the channel quite a while ago, and I can't remember what I put it now. Danny. Which is I allow 1807, and I think I banged on about this for quite a while, waiting for it to arrive, and it didn't quite arrive for my last chat, but it has now. It arrived quite a while ago. So this is Napoleonics. It is Sound of Drums. That's a Swiss house. Uwe Valentin, I think is his name. So interesting. If you want to see the game, go and have a look at my my playthrough on Devue's Charge in the Battle of Eylau here. It is sort of on a similar level to the Hexasim games. Last Eagles, First Eagles, Lost Eagles, Found Eagles, Recycled Eagles. I don't, yeah, whatever. Eagles, Philadelphia Eagles, even. So they're not similar, but they're kind of similar scales, similar playability, that kind of thing. But this they are planning extra ones on this. They are also updating the rules, because some of the rules were a bit odd when they came out. I think they're just about to publish version 1.5 of the rules, so you can imagine in 6 months there's been quite a lot of stuff. And then they're also going to be doing a version 2.0 rules with the next game. The next game is going to Kickstarter in December, I think, certainly around the end of the year, which will be a 2-battle game. Can't remember what one of the battles were. The other battle is the Battle of Wartenberg, which I haven't seen a game of before, and that has me intrigued. Wartenberg was it was an amphibious crossing of the Elbe by the Prussians in 1813, and then they actually came up against a force of Italians in defence on the side of the French, and yeah, it was quite a tense battle, and I think the Italians eventually withdrew. So interesting to see that, and it is Kickstarter, and you can get into it fairly well. The game, as I think they're trying to sort out some of the confusions on. There was an issue with the system where artillery were very, very vulnerable. You could in things like La Bataille and stuff, and even in ACW games like GBACW, you can overrun artillery, but then you can recapture it and things like that. Whereas this, you overrun it, and it's very weak in assault, and it just comes off the board, and that's it, kind of thing. it didn't. The artillery that wasn't working very well, and I think they're redoing that. But anyway, yeah. So that's ILO 1807 came through. Of course, we've got the other side of the hill, which I've already talked about, which I should be getting within the next couple of weeks, hopefully. Apparently, is that the games are in Europe, and they are starting to ship outside Spain and Portugal, so that should be fairly imminent. What have we got coming up? There is a new game I got, which was associated with the Kickstarter Game Found thing, but wasn't, and that was... And this was thanks to Rough Swordsman, actually. And it's not really a war game, but it's the Explore It system. And this is the second game in the system, which is the Forests of Adramon. So this is a fantasy game. You have a party of adventurers, which have a certain class, a certain race, etc. You start with particular statistics, and effectively you go around, and you're under the cosh from a baddie. There's a kind of timer of the baddie will come and get you, but you need to accomplish some things so that you can get more experience and that you can get the bits and pieces you need to defeat the baddie. As it's Forest of Adramon, it's all in forests and swamps and things like that. Quite a good game. The character sheets are, you use little whiteboard markers on the character sheets to change the numbers and stuff. It's quite clever. It's quite a lot of it. It's a lot of game, big lot of game. So the Explore It system. This is the second one in the game series. Now, why I said it's related to Kickstarter Game Founder is that I joined in the latest Kickstarter, which I'm pretty sure is now closed, which is the 5th game, which is known as Mountains of Whaddaya. Now, one thing about each of the games, they are standalone, but you can use the characters from the other games in other games if you want to. They come with a certain number of character classes per game, but you can mix and match if you have them. So, and they were offering some of the old games on reprints as part of it. So, I found this game anyway. This is not from the Kickstarter at all. I found this. I think I found it in the Netherlands actually, and got a copy. I also got each of the games has 1 or 2 expansions, which basically gives you a new baddie and setup, and then they also have a card expansion, a card deck expansion, which gives you sort of expanded events and things. So this one, I got the card expansion, couldn't get the normal expansion. It's not available yet. So on the Kickstarter, I went for the complete set of the new 5th one. And then I went also for the first game and also the expansions to complete on this. So that was a very hefty whack. But it's a nice system. I played it once. It's pretty good. Played it wrong though. But it's quite good. It's pretty good. So explore it. Have a look out for it. Yeah, I do recommend it. In that sort of fantasy, Dungeons and Dragons on a board kind of game. Right. So that came through. Is that it? I think that's about it. Oh no, there is one more, and it did come on P500, and I completely forgot about it. But my eyes just lighted on it. Went, oh yes. And this would be, if I can get it out. Not sure I can. It's well packed. Come on. There we go. Which is Next War Iran. So I recently got into the Next War system. I P500'd Vietnam, really because I wanted to. I was interested in that situation as opposed to the game system. Game systems very much. It's a bit like the old GDW Third World War. It certainly has a lot do it. Certainly the advanced air game and stuff. Since I got Vietnam, I said I was having a Discord game on Vietnam. I got hold of Poland Second Edition when it came out. I also got the supplements as well, so I'm well into the series. I've also pre-500 signed up for the Taiwan series. That's the Taiwan one as well, and then this one came out fairly quickly actually, from announced to actually, on. It seemed to appear very quickly, and I went, oh yes, okay, Iran. So I haven't done much with it. I did set it up, but had to the table had to be used for something else, so I had to break it down. So I started having a little bit of a look at it. Also have a look at it a bit on Vassal. Yeah, it seems very, very, very different from the other games. There's a very slow start to it. You have to sort of build. There's a certain amount of building up, certainly on the American side. But yeah, interesting game. Yeah, we'll see if we can get onto that at some point. So yeah, next war on. Blah blah blah. Okay, what are we looking for to come? Okay, so I will have, of course, The Other Side of the Hill appearing, as I said, and that Hexplorit. I think it's going to be a long time before I actually get any of the Hexplorit stuff. I did early ship, so I might get the first game and the expansion for the second game next year sometime. I think the 5th installment is not due until January 26th, I think. So that's not going to be there for any time soon. Also, I've got Purple Haze coming, so I kickstarted that, and that should be around by the end of the year, I think. Which I can't remember who's doing Purple Haze. Is it Phalanx? I think it's Phalanx, isn't it? Yes. Yeah, with that, it's James Buckley's game. And that's got a couple of expansions coming with it as part of the Kickstarter. So that's solo Vietnam. You've got a squad, is it a section of American soldiers in Vietnam. So that's coming soon. Slightly further along in time, there's the new game from the Sound of Drums guys, the guys who did I Lao, which is 1793 Patriots and Traitors, I think it's called. So it's round about the French Revolution, the Terror. 4-player game. Looks interesting. Euro-ish, really, but quite interested in the French Revolution and stuff. And if you want to learn a few things about the French Revolution in a really, really great way, there's just doing a plug, not for anything, but there's a podcast run by a couple of historians, UK historians, a guy called Tom Holland and Dominic Sandbrook. They do a podcast called The Rest is History, which they wander around all over the place. They do these hour-long podcasts or podcast series of several hours on things, and they've done a couple of seasons now on French Revolution. They've started from before the revolution, and they've now got to just the point where I think they've just finished a set of podcast episodes, which is just coming up to the point where the constitution falls apart, the constitutional monarchy constitution falls apart. So it's interesting. They're quite light-hearted, nice guys, know their stuff, very good at their research. They are authors in their own, very famous authors in their own right. Have a look at that if you're interested in the French Revolution. Just by the by, The Rest is History, it's called. Have a look at that if you're interested. So 1793 Patriots and Traitors. Looking forward to that. It'll be sometime next year coming through. I have just signed up to the Rock of Chickamauga, which is the second in the Black Swan series from Flying Pig Games. So the first one, ACW, was A Most Fearful Sacrifice. So the Gettysburg game from Herman Lutman. And so I've signed up to the second in the series, which is the Chickamauga game, which is Rock of Chickamauga. So like the game, frustrating certainly as a Confederate. I think in the Gettysburg one, interested to see a second battle in it. So lovely production values, of course. So yeah, that's just signed up to that. I think it's still open. The Kickstarter is still open on that, so worth a look. I think it's a good system. You know, it's Herman Luttman, so of course it's a good system. Very similar to Blind Swords, but not the same. And I think that's the other one is Tiny Epic Cthulhu. So this is from the series, the Tiny Epic Galaxy series. So I know very little about it. I was cajoled to jump on the Kickstarter by Rough Silverman Wargamer, so I'm afraid he does not have any plausible deniability. If I don't like it, it's entirely his fault. But my kids are into Cthulhu, so I thought I'd get it for, you know, time for playing with the kids. Can't remember even much about it, but yeah, Tiny Epic Cthulhu will be getting sometime next year as well. I think early next year. So a couple of things I've got my eye on. So with the NAC Wargames guys, who are the guys who do The Other Side of the Hill, they will be doing a reissue of the Republic of Rome, the old Avalon Hill game, which I used to play and used to think it was brilliant. I'm hesitating now. Multiplayer, do I have how much multiplayer? How much multiplayer opportunities do I have? I mean, there's always Discord, Discord Vassal again. So thinking about that one, it's not out for Kickstarter yet, but it is coming soon. And the other one is Worthington, who I don't have a lot of games from. I think just a couple. I've got the States of Siege, Malta Besieged. I've got that one. I think I have another one. But they're going to be coming out with a reprint of the old Avalon Hill Caesar at Elysia, which I've never played. I did see play and was intrigued about it. It did seem a bit rough around the edges, but this is purportedly quite cleaned up of that. It's not a straight reprint. So again, interested in that. So Worthington, they just announced that. So it's just open on that. The Republic of Rome isn't open yet. But it's a couple of things I'm kind of puzzling over. Now, I've been ignoring the chat and rabbiting along. So I will be a good boy and see what people have been saying, and then completely ignore it. Mike, hi. Sorry, didn't see you there, Mike. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yes. And, of course, people are asking about Wolfpack. Hope that goes well. Hope it makes it across the Atlantic. Haha. Yeah, so... I haven't played Compass's NATO, nor the original. Sorry, don't have that one. Yeah, never fancied it really. So, sorry, can't help with that. Christoph, yeah, Purple Haze the game. Yes, indeed, that's right, from Phalanx. Yes, indeed. Solo Vietnam game. Yes. I presume the songs going to be have to be played while you're playing it. I'm pretty sure. Hope you have the table space for rock. Yeah, well. Interesting you should say that, because another little story. If you're already bored, you're going to be more bored. If you're not bored, you might find it interesting. So, reason for quietness over the summer, I was directing an amateur dramatics production of a play, of course, and in that it had a dining table, and I had to find a dining table for the production, and I went with my wife down to, couldn't find anything good. It's set in about 1980, so it wasn't. I didn't want anything period, and there's lots and lots of period stuff in charity shops and stuff. So me and my wife went down to Salisbury, which is a city it's about 40 minutes, half an hour journey, sort of southwest from where I am in Wiltshire, where Salisbury Cathedral is. You might have heard of that. It used to be the tallest building in the world up until sort of mid 19th century, I think. So I went to the charity shops there, found one, managed to get my next door neighbour to ship it up to the venue, and then when we finished it, I thought, I wonder if this table fits in my wargaming room. And so I got my tape measure out and I went, just. So now, instead of my one map only table, which I've got here, I actually have a much bigger dining table sized table to do things. And I wonder if I can show you it. I'm going to try and, this is my laptop's camera, so I'm going to try and spin the camera around and you can see it's there. So we get rid of things out of the way. That's me. That's the stack of games I just showed you. So as you can see, that's a decent size there. So I should be able to get two of your standard wargaming maps, not end on, but side by side. So that was an incredibly long answer to Nordic, which is, I think I might have the table space for the Rocketeer Mauler, like I would have the space now for the Sacrifice, because I have another table here, which is this one here that I'm sitting out with, where I could put the not the player aids, but the card what was it, the card sheets for preferences for activation and things like that of divisions and stuff. So I should be able to fit that on. Like to visit Stonehenge? Yeah, Stonehenge not far from me. Not far from me. If you're coming, let us know. I'll take you around it. Well, you can't actually go around it. You can go to it, close to it, and then come back, and then go through the whole visitor centre. But yeah, you can't actually go right next to it unless you're a protester. They seem to be able to do it. But if you're just a visitor, then you have to keep quite far away from it. So, but you will be able to see it. Yeah, Christoph. Yeah, exactly. But I've got the one dining table-y sized table now, which means that I can expand a bit, which is great. So I can get off Vassal a bit sometimes with the bigger games. Ping pong table. Yeah, that wouldn't fit in here. Definitely not. I wouldn't be sitting here for the ping pong table. You'd never leave. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, all you need is a few of the patented downpours of rain, and you probably want to get out of it pretty quickly. So, yeah, yeah, it's great. Yeah, loads of historical sites, but a lot of them have moss growing on them because it rains a lot and it's cold quite a lot. So yeah, yeah, lots to see. Not sure you'd yeah. Oh, you love it when it rains. Fair enough then. Yes, yeah. If you come, I'll make you stand outside because you love it. Right. Anyway, good. How are we doing? Well, that's over an hour and a half now. So, and we still have a decent number of people concurrently. 22 people. My God. Have you got anything better to do on a Sunday? Probably not. Like me, I don't have anything better to do. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm also in a bit of a mood because Burnley lost today. But there you go. I think that's enough information, isn't it? Enough chat. Anything else anybody wants to say? I've run out of things. Almost run out of my voice, and it's starting to get pretty late here, so I could do with a drink. So yeah. Christoph's into the rain as well. Well, why don't you live here anyway? I mean, this is the place for rain. Come and live here. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure you'll get sick of it pretty quickly. Having said that, it hasn't actually rained for over a week here, which is quite amazing for this time of year, and in fact allowed me to get out and try and prise some of the moss off my car park space outside, which I've been meaning to do for quite a while. But and yes, it was still wet and soggy, even though it hasn't rained for a week. Gives you some idea. Oh God, Skara Bray, flipping out, yeah, and then you'll get blown through from the gales as well. Still, anyway, that's enough. You go off and have your rainy days, and have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll see you when I get back from holiday. Thanks for listening in and not falling asleep. Although I do note that there are some people who have stopped chatting, so they probably are asleep. Happy to have provided some kind of soporific aid to you. Still, thanks everybody. Nordic, Paul, Camp, Christoph. Too many people to mention. Michael again. Patrick, I didn't even see you there, so yeah, good to see you as well. And Mike and Stuka, if they're still around, and Seema. And I'll see you when you get back. Actually, well, I might be posting a couple of things from the convention. You know, my little sort of couple of minutes walk around, chatty things. And so I'll hopefully see you there as well. If you pop into the chat while I'm on, although I'm not on for very long. But that's it. So thanks very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.